Mental health is an important part of our overall well-being. It includes our emotional, psychological, and social health. It affects how we think, feel, and act every single day of our lives. When our mental health is good, we can handle stress, relate to others, and make healthy choices. But sometimes people struggle with their mental health, just like they can struggle with their physical health. This is why awareness is so crucial. Talking openly about mental health helps to reduce the stigma and fear that often surround these topics, making it easier for people to seek the help and support they need without feeling judged or alone in their experiences. For many years, discussing mental health was difficult. The words used were often clinical and hard for many people to understand. This created a barrier, making it challenging for individuals to connect with the information being shared. Campaigns relied heavily on text and statistics, which could feel cold and impersonal. This approach did not always capture the real lived experience of mental health conditions. It failed to show the deep emotions and personal struggles that people face. The goal of awareness is to build empathy and understanding, but the old methods sometimes missed this important target, leaving people feeling disconnected from the message. Now, things are changing for the better, thanks to digital illustrations. These artworks are powerful tools in modern mental health campaigns. Artists use colors, shapes, and characters to show what it feels like to live with anxiety, depression, or other conditions. Instead of just using complicated words, an illustration can show a person under a heavy cloud to represent sadness, or tangled in threads to represent anxiety. This visual language is universal and can be understood by people from all walks of life, regardless of their age or background. It makes the conversation about mental health much more accessible and a lot less intimidating for everyone involved. The use of digital art has truly transformed how we approach mental health awareness. These images can be shared easily on social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, reaching millions of people in an instant. This wide reach helps to normalize conversations about mental wellness. A single powerful illustration can start a dialogue, encourage someone to share their own story, or inspire a person to learn more about a specific topic. Art has a unique ability to touch our hearts and minds, and in the context of mental health, it serves as a gentle invitation to explore difficult subjects with curiosity and compassion, which is a significant step forward. Digital illustrations have a special ability to make complex mental health concepts much easier to grasp. For example, trying to explain what a panic attack feels like with words alone can be very difficult for someone who has never experienced one. An artist, however, can draw a character who feels like they are drowning or whose heart is a ticking bomb about to explode. This kind of imagery immediately communicates the intense fear and loss of control associated with the experience. These visual metaphors are incredibly effective because they translate internal, invisible feelings into an external, visible form that everyone can see and begin to understand on a deeper emotional level. These artworks often use very simple and clear styles. The characters might have soft, rounded shapes and expressive faces that are easy to relate to. The colors used are also very important in conveying a specific mood. Soft pastel colors might be used to create a feeling of calm and hope, while dark, muted colors might represent feelings of sadness or isolation. This careful use of visual elements helps to break down complicated ideas into smaller, more manageable pieces. By making the information less overwhelming, illustrations invite viewers to engage with the topic instead of turning away from something that seems too difficult or too scientific to understand. Another way digital illustrations help is by representing a wide range of experiences. Mental health is not the same for everyone. It is a deeply personal journey. Artists can create a diverse cast of characters from different backgrounds, cultures, and age groups. This helps more people see themselves reflected in the campaigns. When a person sees an illustration that captures their specific feelings or situation, they feel seen and validated. This sense of recognition is incredibly powerful and helps to combat the loneliness that many people with mental health struggles often feel. It sends a clear message that they are not alone in what they are going through. Furthermore, these illustrations can be used to create educational content that is both engaging and memorable. A series of drawings can explain the steps for practicing mindfulness or show the difference between healthy and unhealthy coping mechanisms. This storytelling approach is much more effective than just reading a list of facts. When information is presented in a visual narrative, our brains are more likely to process and remember it. This makes digital art an invaluable tool not just for raising awareness, but also for providing practical, helpful advice that people can apply to their own lives to support their mental well-being in a proactive way. When people see digital illustrations about mental health, they often feel an immediate emotional connection. An image of a person being hugged by a supportive friend or a character finding a small light in a dark room can evoke strong feelings of empathy, hope, and reassurance. These images work because they tap into shared human experiences. We all know what it feels like to be sad, to need comfort, or to search for hope. Art bypasses the need for complex language and speaks directly to our hearts. This emotional response is the first step toward building genuine understanding and compassion for those who are struggling with their mental health. Beyond the emotional impact, these artworks are also powerful educational tools. Viewers learn to recognize the signs of different mental health conditions in a way that is not clinical or scary. For example, an illustration might depict a character who has no energy to get out of bed, showing a common symptom of depression. Another might show someone constantly replaying negative thoughts, illustrating the nature of anxiety. Seeing these experiences visualized helps people understand what their friends, family members, or even they themselves might be going through. It gives them a new vocabulary, a visual one, to talk about these issues with greater confidence. The learning that happens through these illustrations is often subtle but profound. It helps to destigmatize mental health by showing it as a part of the human condition, not as a personal failing. When art portrays mental health struggles with sensitivity and respect, it changes how people think about these topics. They start to see mental illness not as something to be feared or hidden, but as a health issue that deserves care and attention, just like a broken arm. This shift in perspective is essential for creating a more supportive and inclusive society where people feel safe enough to ask for help when they need it most. This kind of visual communication also encourages self-reflection. When a person sees an illustration that resonates with their own feelings, it can be a moment of clarity. They might think, "That's exactly how I feel, but I never knew how to describe it." This recognition can be the first step toward seeking help or talking to someone about their struggles. The art provides a safe starting point for an internal dialogue, helping individuals to better understand their own emotional landscape. In this way, digital illustrations do more than just inform, they empower people to take an active role in their own mental health journey, which is truly transformative. Artists and mental health advocates both agree that illustrations are incredibly valuable. Artists often draw from their own personal experiences, which makes their work authentic and deeply relatable. They see their art as a way to process their own feelings and to connect with others who may be going through similar struggles. For them, creating these illustrations is a form of advocacy in itself. It is a way to use their creative skills to make a positive impact and contribute to a cause they care deeply about. They believe that a single image can sometimes say more than an entire article, reaching people in a more immediate and emotional way. Mental health professionals and advocates also strongly support the use of art in campaigns. They recognize that traditional methods of communication do not always reach the people who need help the most, especially younger audiences who are very active on social media. Advocates see digital illustrations as a bridge that connects clinical knowledge with everyday life. They appreciate how art can make difficult topics more approachable and less intimidating. By partnering with artists, advocacy groups can create campaigns that are more engaging, more inclusive, and ultimately more effective at spreading their message of hope and support to a much wider audience. Looking to the future, there are many creative ways to use digital art to make campaigns even more effective. One idea is to create interactive illustrations or short animations that allow viewers to engage with the content directly. For example, an interactive story could let a user make choices for a character who is dealing with social anxiety, helping them learn about different coping strategies in a hands-on way. Animated videos can also explain complex topics like therapy or medication in a simple and visually appealing format, reducing fear and misinformation and encouraging people to explore their options for treatment. Ultimately, future campaigns should focus on collaboration between artists, mental health experts, and people with lived experience. This ensures that the illustrations are not only beautiful and creative, but also accurate, sensitive, and truly representative of the issues they portray. By continuing to embrace digital art, We can build a world where conversations about mental health are normal, where support is easily accessible, and where everyone feels understood. The simple act of drawing can create powerful ripples of change, fostering a more compassionate and mentally healthy society for all of us. Art teaches, heals, and connects, and its role in this important conversation is only just beginning.